didn't believe in rules that didn't make sense, especially not the kind that come without explanation. So when the night manager handed me the keys, avoided eye contact, and told me there was one room I should never enter, I didn't take it seriously. Room 11. That was the only thing he said clearly, not why, not what was inside, just don't open it. The motel itself felt like a place that had already been forgotten. A long stretch of empty road, no nearby buildings, no passing traffic after midnight. Just a row of identical doors, all facing the same endless darkness. Inside, the reception area smelled faintly of dust and something older, something damp that never quite went away. The first few nights were uneventful. No guests, no phone calls, just hours of silence broken only by the occasional flicker of the overhead light. It was the kind of silence that doesn't feel natural, the kind that makes you aware of your own breathing, your own heartbeat, your own thoughts, getting louder the longer you sit with them. By the third night, I started noticing something strange. Every clock in the building, no matter where it was, seemed to drift toward the same time. 3:17 a.m. Not exactly, not all at once, but slowly, like something was pulling time itself in that direction. I tried to ignore it, blamed faulty wiring, cheap clocks, an old building settling into its own rhythm. But deep down, it didn't feel like that. It felt deliberate. On the fifth night, the phone rang. The sound was so sudden, so sharp, that it made me jump out of my chair. I stared at it for a moment before answering. There was no greeting on the other end, just silence. Then breathing, slow, uneven, like someone struggling to draw air through something thick. "Hello?" I said. The breathing stopped, and for a few seconds there was nothing. Then a voice, so quiet I almost missed it. "Is it open?" I frowned. "Is what open?" No response, just silence again. And then the line went dead. I checked the caller ID. No number, no record of the call. Nothing. That night I didn't sleep. I couldn't. Because for the first time, I noticed something else. Room 11 wasn't on the system. Every other room had a record, check-ins, cleaning logs, maintenance notes. But room 11 was blank, like it didn't exist. And yet, it did. I could see it from the hallway, the door, slightly darker than the others, like the paint absorbed more light than it should. I told myself I was overthinking, that it was just an unused room, locked, forgotten, nothing more. But at exactly 3:17 a.m., I heard something, a sound that didn't belong in an empty building, a slow, dragging noise. It echoed faintly through the hallway, not loud, not aggressive, just persistent, like something heavy being pulled across the floor. I sat frozen at the desk, listening, waiting for it to stop. It didn't. It kept going, back and forth, again and again and again, until it started to change. The dragging turned wetter, thicker, like whatever was moving wasn't dry anymore. And then I heard a second sound, a voice. At first, it didn't sound like words, just broken noises, fragments of something trying to form. But slowly, painfully, it became clearer. Help? My chest tightened. I stood up without realizing it. Every instinct told me to stay where I was, to ignore it, to wait it out. But something stronger, something quieter, pulled me toward the hallway. Each step felt wrong, like I was walking somewhere I didn't belong. The air grew colder, not gradually, suddenly, like crossing an invisible line. By the time I reached room 11, my breath was visible, The dragging sound stopped. The voice didn't. "Please!" It was right on the other side of the door, close, too close. My hand hovered over the handle. I could feel it, not physically, but something on the other side was aware of me, waiting, listening. The voice came again, stronger this time, clearer. "I know you're there." My fingers tightened around the handle, and that's when I noticed it. The door was already unlocked. I don't remember turning the handle. I don't remember pushing the door open, but suddenly I was standing inside. The smell hit me instantly. Rotting flesh. Wet. Heavy. So thick it felt, like breathing through liquid. The room was darker than it should have been. Even with the hallway light behind me, the walls looked wrong. Not damaged, not dirty, just uneven, like they weren't solid, like they were shifting slightly, yet when I wasn't looking directly at them. And in the center of the room, something was moving. At first, I thought it was a person, curled on the floor, twitching. But then it stretched, unfolded, and I realized it was too long. Its limbs didn't match, arms where legs should be, joints bending in directions that made no sense. Its head turned toward me, slowly, with a series of soft, wet cracks, and its eyes were already open, watching me. The voice came again, but this time, it wasn't coming from the thing. It was coming from everywhere, from the walls, from the floor, from inside my head. "You opened it." The thing smiled, or tried to. Its mouth split wider than it should have, the skin around it tearing slightly, stretching too far. I stumbled back. The door slammed shut behind me. The lights went out, and then it moved. Not like before, not slow, not broken, fast, violently fast. Something brushed against me, cold. So cold it burned. I ran. I don't remember reaching the desk. I don't remember locking the doors. I only remember the sound. Following me, not footsteps, not breathing, just movement. Constant. Shifting. Like it was never in one place for more than a second. When the lights came back, everything looked normal, too normal. The hallway was empty. Room 11 was closed. The smell was gone, but something wasn't right, because the silence had changed. It wasn't empty anymore. It was full. Full of something I couldn't see but could feel. Watching. Waiting. Learning. The next morning I checked the cameras. Every hallway, every angle, every second between 3 and 4 a.m. was gone. Not corrupted, not glitched. Just missing. Like it had never been recorded. That was the moment I should have left. But I didn't, because by then, it was already too late. That night the phone rang again. This time, I didn't hesitate. I answered immediately. The same breathing, the same silence, but this time, the voice was different, stronger, clearer, closer. "Are you inside?" I felt my throat go dry. "Oh, yes," I whispered. A pause, and then, "Good." The line went dead, the lights flickered, and I saw something move in the reflection of the front glass. Not behind me, not in the hallway, but inside the reflection itself. Like it wasn't in the room, but still there. Its shape was wrong. Too tall, too thin, head tilted too far to one side, watching me without blinking. I turned around slowly. There was nothing there. But the reflection was still smiling. After that, things stopped making sense. Time skipped. Minutes disappeared. I would look at the clock, and it would already be 3:17 every time, no matter when I checked. And the voice never stopped. Sometimes it whispered, sometimes it laughed, sometimes it sounded exactly like me, repeating things I hadn't said yet, finishing my thoughts, answering questions I hadn't asked out loud. Until one night, I looked at the camera feed and saw myself standing in room 11, smiling, looking directly at the camera while I was still at the desk. That's when I understood. It didn't come out of the room. It didn't escape. It switched. And I was the door. The next morning, the day manager found me sitting at the desk, exactly where I always was. He looked at me for a long time, then he sighed, like he had seen this before, and said quietly, "Another one." I tried to speak, but my voice didn't feel like mine anymore, and somewhere behind me, deep in the hallway, I heard it again, dragging, slow, patient, waiting for the next person to open the door.